it's a better feeling to take care of them than it is to, like, I'd rather buy her something, buy her a little bag, or buy her this than buy myself something. That's a good feeling.
How long were you in a relationship for?
I was talking to her for probably like a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me an estimate. How much money did MPJ spend in that year and a half?
Nothing crazy. I mean, probably like, but then I end up like telling her I'll split her rent with her. You know what I'm saying? I end up buying her something.
Hold on.
Yeah, dog.
I know you're not worth $200 million and was splitting rent with your girlfriend.
You talking about that I should pay for the whole thing?
Absolutely. Hold on.
200 million, 300 million, it don't matter. This is how you keep money. This is how you move intelligently. This is how you move smart and wise. This is how you do not go broke. This is how you keep bread in your pocket and in your bank account and never listen to people like him.
Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, welcome on board. So this guy is literally trending right now. The internet is literally coming for this guy because he's splitting a 3K rent with his girlfriend. Meanwhile, he's worth $200 million. And people are like, why would you split a 3K rent? Meanwhile, you have $200 million. You could easily like pay up the rent for her, you know, irrespective of the fact that she was trying to live above her means, right? And another school of thought, we are like, no, pay your own rent. It doesn't matter if he makes 300, 400, like that's the best way to save money by not spending it over some entitled human beings. Some people are like, he isn't married to her, so why would he pay up the rent? Why would he just give her all the money for the rent, right? And the fact that he promised earlier on that even if they go their separate ways, he's still gonna, you know, pay up the money, you know. But people are like, no, just pay it up, man. You're way bigger than that. You have a lot of money. Like men do pay, you know, women that they love, they pay their money up, especially if it's rent, you know. And somewhere like it's a form of control, you know, so that the guy would do whatever he wants to do with her, you know. So guys, it's kind of crazy because this topic is actually trending right now, the 50-50 in respective of your income bracket. Like it doesn't even matter, especially if another human being who is entitled and is trying to live above their means, right? So guys, drop your thoughts in the comments. I have some more clips coming, so stay tuned.
$200 million deal and you were splitting rent with your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
You cheap, brother.
NBA star Michael Porter Jr. just shocked the internet by admitting that he split rent with his ex-girlfriend while sitting on a $200 million contract. While on Respectfully with Justin LaBoy, the Nuggets forward explained that he did it to test her intentions.
I still wanted to know that she was with me for like the right reasons.
And get this, Porter said that even after they broke up, she stayed in the apartment and he continued to pay his half of the rent. However, he admitted why he wouldn't give her all of the money up front.
Why you just don't send her half for the rest of the year?
Because she need to act right month to month.
Oh!
Yeah, fans have been weighing in on this clip ever since it dropped. You have some people dragging him and calling him cheap, while others are commending him for protecting his
Month to month.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Have you paid your half of the rent? How does that work if you blocked on shit?
Nah, we were in a little bit of communication. She ended up hitting my phone asking for the bread.
Hell yeah, she gonna keep
which I don't blame her because she went into that apartment not being able to afford it, and I gave her my word. So
why you just don't send her half for the rest of the year?
Because she need to act right month to month, nigga.
Oh.
I just love it when men say the quiet part out loud. I don't think he meant to say that. And shorty, if you watch that video, if I was you, I would go ahead and move out of that apartment and move into one that you can afford, because I don't know why the fuck you would move into an apartment that you knew you could not afford. So backstory, right? This young man, he is an NBA player. He has a $200 million contract. He's on a $200 million contract. He was in a relationship with this girl. This girl is looking for an apartment, right? She comes across an apartment that is outside of her budget. He tells her, get the apartment because she liked the apartment. He wants her to have what she likes or whatever. And he offers to pay half the rent. $200 million, he only gonna pay half. He said because he wants her to have what she wants, and when he's visiting, he also wants to stay there. So he wants her to get that apartment because he wants to stay there. So she gets 5 months into her having this apartment. And then he told her, mind you, he also told her, hey, if this relationship ends within a year, I will still pay you half of the rent for the remainder of the year. So even if we break up before the year is over, before your lease is up, I'ma still pay it. Right? He said that. So now in this interview, he's saying that they broke up 5 months into the lease. They break up. Now he's asking, damn, should I still give her the money? You told her you would. You literally told the girl, hey, get the apartment because even if we break up, I'm still going to give you the money. So the girl goes and gets the apartment that she cannot afford. That was her fucking mistake. Don't do no dumbass shit like this. Second, and then the host is like, okay, so why not just give her the remainder of the money for the rest of the year so y'all don't even have to communicate? He said, because she got to act right month to month. They use money as a manipulation tool. He proceeds to say, I cut it off before that, but he proceeds to say, if she want to be on social media acting up, she can have a new man pay half the rent. Y'all are not in a relationship anymore. And nowhere did you stipulate in you paying half the rent that, oh, once we break up, you cannot date or I will not pay the rent. You told that girl, get that apartment, you would pay half. And even if y'all broke up, you would still pay your half. And now it's, oh, if she want to date, the other dude can pay it. Stop putting yourselves in these positions because a man got a little bit of money. It's a tool of control. It's fine and dandy to let a man with money take care of you and treat you or whatever, but do not go living outside of your means. And when the relationship ends, now you living like a fucking pauper. Now you goddamn poor. You're a peasant. And now you got to be nice to a man that probably did you dirty to get your fucking rent paid. Y'all got to do better. Do better. We know. He said the quiet part out loud. So now, right now, any woman that he deals with moving forward, if you find yourself in this situation, baby girl, it's your fault. If you saw this interview, because I say it all the time, a lot of women suffer from, it could never be me. I'm not her. I'm not her. I would never be in her position. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the kind of man he is. And you definitely will find yourself in that situation. Do not live above your means for a man that you are not married to and just got with.
Hey, I'm seeing a lot of people have issues with Michael Porter Jr. splitting the rent with his girlfriend, even though he's a $200 million nigga. I feel like they misunderstood what he was saying, though. He was basically saying, like, he wanted to have his own spot, she have her own spot, so they got their own space type shit, you know what I'm saying? He was like, what can you afford? And I'll go half on something a little more luxurious, something a little more expensive, something that I could come over and lay my head in your bedroom and be comfortable in. So let's just say, hypothetically, she say, I can afford $1,500 in rent. He says, all right, well, I'm gonna match your $1,500, find you something worth $3K. And he pays the rent. He went on to say that they eventually broke up, but he's a man of his word, so he's still paying her rent, even though they're broken up currently. Now, I'm gonna say this. He's a better man than me. Because you think I'm paying rent, you gonna have another nigga laid up in that motherfucker? Crazy work. But I personally don't see the issue. Like, what's the problem with that? Yeah, he could have just said, yeah, move in with me, live for free, this, that, and the third. But then he said, I don't know if she's my wife, so I'm still taking care of her because it's my girlfriend. I want to build with her. I want to make sure she's comfortable. I want to make sure I'm comfortable when I go over there. I want to have her own space. I have my own space. So we're not up under each other 24/7. And it also still makes her independent. She still has her own bills she needs to pay. She still got to come up with her half of the rent. She still got to take care of the things she need to take care of. Like, yes, he's a $200 million nigga. And to most of y'all see it as, oh, well, he making 200 M's. I should be a stay-at-home girlfriend. I should be a stay-at-home wife. I should be a stay-at-home, whatever you believe. At the end of the day, he's still making her life easier. 9 times out of 10, she probably didn't tell him the exact number that she could afford either. She probably could afford a $2,000 rent, but she may have said $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, so she could have a little extra pocket change. No girl's ever gonna tell the exact truth. And if you're watching this video and you sit here and say, well, I would have told him that I could only afford, you're lying. You wouldn't have told him the exact number you could afford because you want to have some extra money in your pocket. So even still, he's making her life easier. He's making sure she's comfortable. He's making sure he's comfortable. And even after breaking up, he's still paying her rent. He's still being a man of his word. And I guess a lot of them was frustrated because he said he only pays her month to month because somebody said, well, why don't you just give her all the money up front so she don't have to harass you no more? And he went on to say, because I got to make sure she act right. Which is true, because if he just was to say, all right, well, we just broke up 6 months into your lease. All right, whatever I owe you for the rest of the year, for the next 6 months, here go a $20,000 check. You take care of that. Whatever. I don't know the exact number, so I can't say, but let's just say hypothetically he does that. Now it's fuck him. Now she could be disrespectful. Now she could be, you know what I'm saying, like rude as hell. Now she could bash his name. She could talk bad about him. She could do whatever the hell she want to do. But being that she still needs him, she still got to depend on him to a certain extent. She got to act right. Yeah, broke up. But now that, you know, most of the time when y'all break up with a nigga, it's a lot of disrespect going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of women do that. Not saying y'all, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of women do go to bashing and talking crazy and talking down on a nigga. But being that you need me, all right, now you got a little respect. Like, yeah, we broke up. Yeah, you might move on. You might got another boyfriend, but you're not disrespecting me. Yeah, I might move on. I might got another girlfriend, but you're not coming to my house unannounced and causing a scene and causing mayhem between me and my relationship, my new relationship. So, I mean, I personally don't see the problem with it. I just want to know how y'all feel about it, you know what I'm saying? So, y'all go ahead and drop in y'all comments how y'all feel about, you know, this man being a $200 million nigga, but still splitting rent with his woman. And he's not splitting rent under the same roof. He still got her own apartment. Just something a little more luxurious for her.
I think that the girl should not be apartment hunting or paying for a crib that's out of her price range. Because it's different if you know you can't afford, say the rent's $5,000, $10,000, and then you're expecting, like, if you can't afford it, then that's when I feel like, okay, like, it's OD. But if that's your girl and y'all are planning on living together, I don't know exactly their situation, and you, not even to be pocket watching, but you make $200 million and she's struggling to figure that part out, I think that you should cover it.
Hold on, first of all, is she struggling?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. He didn't know the girl.
Exactly. So
that's what I'm saying.
Don't throw struggling in the equation.
Okay, but say we're apartment hunting. You make $200 million, and then you talking about like, yeah, I want to find this crib, and like it's $15K. Like, let's split half. Like, your pockets are not my pockets. That's what I'm saying. The big difference is. But if it's something that like, especially you want and you have the price for it, I think that makes sense for you to cover it. But I do think that as a man, the man should be the provider. I do think that you should want to take care of your.
In case you missed it, Michael Porter Jr. did an interview with Justin LaBoy where he stated that after his $200 million contract with the NBA, that he was still making his girlfriend pay half of the rent. And the clip is slightly taken out of context because when you first hear that, you're like, why would a man that just signed a $200 million contract make his girlfriend, who's probably not making that, pay half of the rent? Because that sounds crazy. So for some additional context, he said that his girlfriend wanted a specific apartment. And he said that, you know, after games and stuff, he too would love to come back home to that apartment, but the apartment was outside of her price range. So he said, okay, well, how much can you afford? And she said, I can only afford half of that rent. So he said, okay, well then I'll cover the other half for you because I would love to come to this apartment after I have my games and practice and stuff. Like, cool, like we'll move in together. So the clip is slightly taken out of context, and I have mixed feelings on that fact. My first commentary is for the ladies. One, ladies, please don't ever let a man put you in a situation to where you are 100% financially dependent on him. If he said that he would cover, you know, what you couldn't afford, I would get that money in advance. Like, pay your half of the rent a year in advance. Like, just give me all, like, what your total for the year would be right now, and I'll cover the rest. But, like, two, if my man signed a $200 million contract, you paying the rent is not going, you're not even going to notice the amount being gone from your account. Like, you're going to pay the full thing. Now, mind you, I'm someone I'm in full support of men and women going 50-50 in relationships in 2025. The average person can only afford, the average couple in 2025 can only afford to go 50-50. Like, most people are not living in households where the man is paying 100% of the bills. It's just financially difficult now to do that. But Michael Porter Jr., $200 million, that's just one of his contracts. Like, that's not his endorsements. That's not nothing else. It's just one contract. It's like, no, you're going to pay the full rent. I'm not agreeing to that, right? To play devil's advocate on the other side, like, as an athlete, I guess that would be one way of kind of telling, like, if a woman is really there with you for you versus in it for the money, if she's still paying her own rent. So I guess that works out for him, and he obviously won't be one to be taken advantage of financially, at least in his relationship. So there's the perk of that on his side. So anyways, the last part of his interview, the interviewer asked, like, why don't you just give her the bread? Because they did end up breaking up. And the interviewer was like, well, why don't you just go ahead and give her the rest of the money for the year? Like, so you don't have to communicate with her anymore. And his response was diabolical. He said, no, I need to make sure she's acting right month to month. So I'm gonna pay it month to month to make sure she's behaving month to month. And again, like, one, that's financial abuse, because you agreed to pay half of the rent, whether it was in writing or not, like that. You gave her your word, and he mentioned that. He's like, I gave her my word, but your word is conditional on how you feel towards the person, which I don't agree with. And just lastly, like, again, like, women, we have to do better in who we decide to date, because I genuinely feel like if a man actually likes you or liked you, he would not have agreed to go 50-50 when he knows that he makes, 1,000 times over what is being asked of rent. Like, I felt like he never liked that girl to begin with. But yeah, ladies, we just have to do better. We have to put ourselves in better situations, because we have to just have contingency plans. Worst case scenario, if we broke up, how am I going to afford this rent? Now she has to go begging once a month to him and saying, hey, can I get your portion of the rent? Hey, can I get your portion of the rent? Like, it's just a bad situation.
Let us not get it twisted. A man that truly loves you and he has the means will definitely not go for 50-50, right? But it's not the same for other men, and that should not create room for entitlement, right? Just like the lady said, whatever it is, in as much as he makes more money, that doesn't give you, the guarantee that you're going to just lay back and he's going to pay up everything, right? It's not going to happen. So have your money, have your bills paid up, make sure you have your contingency plans, because you don't want to be stranded in a situation where he refuses to pay his other half, right? So just make sure you have more than enough money. You can be 100% depending on people, especially people now, right? Because I understand in America, like, it's a 50-50 world, but back home in Africa, like, once the man has the means, he's gonna even pay up the whole rent and sometimes buy you a house. Like, black men in Africa, they do that, right? Once they have the means. But I guess different, stroke for different people, So guys, what do you all think? Please drop your thoughts in the comments and let's continue with the videos.
I know you're not worth $200 million and was splitting rent with your
you talking about that I should pay for the whole thing?
Absolutely. Hold on. $200 million deal and you were splitting rent with your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? The right decision. You worth $200 million. Her rent was probably $3,000, bro.
Okay, but
She's killing herself to make half, and then she always with you.
But look,
how was she even making that half?
Okay. So basically, she's looking around. She's looking around for her apartments, and she came across one, but it was way out of her price range. It was like double what she could afford. So I was like, this is really nice. I want you to be able to stay here. I want to be able to pull up and stay here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you afford? And I'll split it. I'll pay the rest. So
right.
I ended up doing that. And I was like, yo, whatever happens. And I want the people's advice on this too, because I'm curious.
Yeah, I am.
Basically, bruh, I said, whatever happens in this relationship for the next year, I'm committed to paying this rent. Like,
you're a year-by-year guy. You committed to the NBA year-by-year. You committed to your woman
because I'm like, I don't know if we're going to be together. I don't know if this is my wife. I don't know if it's not. So I'm like, okay, for this next year, I got you. Whatever happens, we could break up. I got you. For this next year, I'll split rent with you.
You can into it the wrong mindset, though.
I know, but bro, I don't know. I just didn't know. So then we end up breaking up 5-6 months into the rent. And basically, that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, man, do I keep helping her out? Or is it cooked?
So, have you paid your half of the rent? How does that work if you blocked on shit?
No, we were in a little bit of communication. She ended up hitting my phone asking for the bread.
Hell yeah, she gonna keep that.
Which I don't blame her because she went into that apartment not being able to afford it, and I gave her my word. So
Why you just don't send her half for the rest of the year?
because she need to act right month to month, nigga.
Oh. Yeah, dude, I've been waiting for you to wake up this interview. There you go.
I'm just saying. So like, if I'm paying the remaining months, month to month.
Yeah.
I see she's wilding, and like, bro, it's gonna be hard to continue that agreement. You feel me? That's gonna be tough because if you're out here wilding, get that next dude to pay that rent.
And you notice how, like a typical manipulator, he tried to make the shit sound good, but even the interviewer, Justin, was calling him out on his obvious bullshit and controlling ways. Never let what a man brings to the table be all you have to eat, because the moment he gets up from that table, he will fuck around and make sure you starve. When someone makes sure you cannot survive without them, that's called financial abuse. That's the part of finding a rich, providing man that people really don't talk about enough. There's a difference between a generous man and a man with money, because one of them is going to financially abuse you. Signing a lease with a man is so dangerous, or making any financial decisions that's tied to your partner. So many women are stuck in toxic situations because they cannot afford to leave. And a controlling, narcissistic man with money can set a woman back for years. A man's money is just an extra or a bonus. Always make sure you can afford all your bills on your own should he decide to walk away.
I just love it when men say the quiet part.
I just love it when women act like they don't understand how shit works. He has a $200 million contract. She moves into an apartment that she already acknowledged that she cannot afford. He said, don't worry, I will pay half. Nothing in this fucking world is free. I don't know why y'all talk to men with money and you think they're just gonna give you their money just because. That's not how life works. I don't know why y'all keep acting so fucking delusional. Not only that, why would you move into an apartment that you know you can't afford and you gotta depend on somebody to pay half? What a lot of women aren't telling you is that a lot of them have these men that pay for everything, but they giving up that ass too. They don't want to say it because it makes them sound fucking terrible, but that's what a lot of them are doing. This is why you should always have your own fucking money. This is why you should never fully depend on somebody. But there's so many homeless women out there who would rather depend on a man's money. Just get your own bread. Just get your own bread.
Why you just don't send her half for the rest of the year?
Because she need to act right month to month.
Oh.
So Michael Porter Jr., Mr. $200 million man, used to split rent with his ex-girlfriend. He talked about how when they were dating, she was looking for an apartment. She found one, but it was out of her price range. He said, hey, if you can pay half, I will cover the other half, because he's barely there. So 5 months into the relationship, they break up. He gets blocked on everything, and he decides that, like, I might pay for it, I might not pay for it. So the host asks, won't you just send her all the money and just be done with it? And he says, I don't feel like I should be liable, and on top of that, she need to act right month to month. So my question to y'all, men, would you split rent if you were worth $200 million? And women, would you agree to sign on an apartment with the dude if he was worth $200 million? Michael Porter Jr.'s point is, why should I have to just because I'm worth $200 million? But on the flip side is, you're worth $200 million. You just talked about how you basically spend $91,000 a year on Uber. So rent can't be too much around that too. So if you can catch an Uber for that amount of money, surely you can, pay for somebody's rent that y'all both agreed to sign in on. But I don't know. Every day we're figuring out something new about this guy here. But what do y'all think, man? Y'all comment down below. You splitting rent with somebody who worth $200 million or not?
So I understand that there are 50-50 couples out there, okay? And I understand that some females are perfectly fine with splitting the bills. I mean, to each his own. I understand it. And we are boyfriend and girlfriend. So there is no obligation as you as my legal spouse, okay? As someone who grew up in an old school household, and as someone whose mother did not pay any of the major bills in the household, but was there in case my daddy needed her to, split rent with somebody who got signed a big contract like that and who got other endorsements.
Pretty Nation, what's good? Let's hop in and talk about it. So basically, shout out to old girl. I'm gonna make sure that I tag her page below so y'all can see the rest of her video. But in the video, she's basically explaining a recent podcast clip with Michael Porter Jr., who now plays with the Brooklyn Nets, saying how crazy it was that he was playing with his girlfriend, even though he has a $200 million contract. Now I'm gonna just break the contract part down, and then we're gonna get to the opinion later. Let's just say he did make $200 million. Let's just say he makes on average 50 per year over 4 years. That's 200 mil, right? He doesn't get that entire $200 million. See, there is incentives that would make it $200 million, but let's just say he got 200 just for the sake of his argument. So let's just say the base salary is 50 per year, right? Off the bat, he got to pay over 50% in taxes because he's in the 50% tax bracket. So let's just cut that 50 mil down to 25 mil. All right. So you already at 25 mil out the gate. So then you got to break it down to property taxes, state taxes, nutritionists, chefs, chauffeurs, housekeeping, all these other expenses. And this ain't even including PR agents, lawyers, none of that. They also get a piece of the pot depending on who's representing him. So let's just say out of that 25 million that he makes, he's probably gonna take around, let's just say, we're gonna say on average out of the 25, we'll just say he takes home about a good $13 million per year. And the reason it's so low because when you go to other cities and they play against other cities, you got to pay another tax of that as well. So just think about that. The 50 million looks good on paper, but on the back end of that, he's probably only making like 16, 15 million out of the 50 million, which is still great money, don't get me wrong. But again, like you said, the endorsement money, that's why they recommend you spend the endorsement money rather than you spend the NBA money, because that can start coming at any time, especially if it's a horrific injury that might end your career. So let's just say that. So out of the 50 million, he's probably only getting 15 million back. That's just the low end probably. Now let's get to the other part of this whole thing. Do what's best for you in your relationship. If they was cool with splitting rent, if they was cool with splitting the bills, that's fine. But you pocket watch it though. It's not fair to pocket watch somebody else's pockets if they doing their part. I could see if he was worth 200 mil and she was paying all the bills knowing he makes way more, then the argument would be fair. But like you said, you grew up in the house with old school values, so a lot of people ain't valuing that. And again, the times then, not the times now. Everything is inflated. Rent's crazy, mortgages is crazy, insurance is crazy, groceries is crazy. Like just the upkeep for certain people's lifestyles, it's horrendous out here. But I just want to say, at the end of the day, if it worked for them, it worked for them. Now, obviously, this was his ex because he talked about it on the podcast. But in my opinion, do what makes you happy.
So Michael Porter Jr. has a $200 million contract, and he decided to tell his girlfriend, hey, I'll split your rent with you. No matter for the next year, no matter how this relationship goes, I'm going to split your rent with you. He doesn't live with her, but he does pull up over there. So it's a blessing for someone to split your rent with you, even if y'all are together or not. You're not married. Just because he's on a $200 million contract, he has to pay all the bills himself. Just because he's on a $200 million contract and everybody's like, oh, she's probably struggling to cover her half of the bill and da-da-da. That's a personal fucking problem. Where did this fucking narrative of women not having to work and pay bills come from? Even in the Bible, if you're Christian, in Proverbs 31, it says that women worked and paid for things with their own earnings. So where did this come from, bro? I had this conversation the other day and I just really kept it short because I didn't feel like arguing. I'm like, bro, I'm not finna argue about no 50-50. Like, bro, especially with a woman, bro, I don't care. Moral of the story is it's kind of good to see that one of these athletes actually have some common sense. He even asked himself a question like, am I wilding for, even after our breakup, for paying half her rent regardless? Yes, you're wilding, but you keeping up your word, I guess.
So Michael Porter Jr., who has a $200 million contract, has his girlfriend split rent with him. And I can understand both sides because on one hand, you're like, okay, you make $200 million. Why are you not paying the entire rent and all the bills? On the other hand, you have him saying, you know, I want to pay half. I want her to pay half. And basically he's saying that this isn't my wife yet. I shouldn't be paying all the bills. And I can see that perspective. But when it comes to a woman and what they are allowed to do, it just depends on the woman, right? Because a woman will come into a relationship and say, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z because I'm not married. And Michael Porter Jr. is just pulling the same kind of thing. So it's all going to determine, like, what kind of woman are you going for? Are you going to get with a woman that's going to do all the things right off the bat? You know, cooking, cleaning, all the wife duties, right? I mean, I think anybody can do those duties, but most people would say, you know, they want a wife that can provide some type of value. So I think, like, everyday stuff around the house, that's usually what a woman is into, right? And they want to do that because they want to do it, not because somebody else wants you to do it. But you just want to do that to be able to take care of your man, your family. But I can understand, you know, like, if you're a 50-50 guy, hey, I ain't married. But at the same time, if you have a woman that's doing all the things, maybe you pay 100%. I don't know if y'all all in, y'all deciding on getting married, then I think that's the move. But at the end of the day, I don't think it comes down to money. I think it comes down to responsibilities and the duties that you do when you're in a relationship compared to being married.
Just so we are clear, no one is obligated to pay nobody's rent, right? Especially if they are not married to you, because irrespective of whether that person has money or not, and especially if that person is not married to you and has not agreed to 50-50 or has agreed to 50-50, you can, you know, force them to do it, especially when they don't want to do it, you know, because these guys are saying, yeah, he is not married to her, and the fact that he offered to pay half, she should be more than happy that he was willing to do that, you know. And so we're like, he's so cheap, like, just pay off the money, it's not a big deal. And just like I said, back home, you know, black men back home in Africa, once they have the means, they pay up the money. You don't even have to question them. That's how they are raised to do, you know. They are raised to be that way, to be providers, irrespective of whether they are married to you. And of course, they are doing that out of their free will and goodwill. It's not out of entitlement or you should have, could have, you know. So basically, I understand what these guys are saying, right? You can just, you know, be angry over somebody's money, and especially if that person is financially wise and all of those good stuff, right? So this is what it is, you know. You can't force people to pay money irrespective of whether they make trillions of dollars, you know, especially if it's not your money and they are willing to help. The bottom line is, have your own money saved up, have your contingency plans. You shouldn't be, you know, relegated to the control or manipulation of someone that is paying your bills, you know, because he said if she acts up, he is not gonna pay. So everything is dependent on whether she acts right or not. That's some, you know, financial manipulation and abuse, you know. So make your own money, do your own stuff, and if someone decides to help you out, then that's right. So guys, if you have come far in this video, thank you so much for stopping by, but please do me the honor and hit on the subscribe button, hit on the like button, hit on the share button, and hit on the notification bell in order not to miss any of my videos. See you in the next one. Have a blessed day.